I saw him spitting fire out of his hands.
Nice.
That's gonna be great. All right, let's do it again exactly how you did it before. And action. Welcome to production diary number 2
For the Plumber Knight Returns.
I saw him jumping around through the alleyways. He was spitting fire out of his hands. He's a superhero.
I know.
I've been known for comedy, especially the work that we've done on YouTube, but when I was a little kid, I never thought like, oh, someday I'm gonna make comedy. I enjoyed watching comedy as a kid, but I remember thinking that the kinds of things I wanted to make when I got older was action, adventure, comic book stuff, superheroes, you know, and I feel like so far I never had the time or the money to do so on YouTube, and honestly I still don't. But I thought, you know, we'd try and do a shoestring superhero thing with Plumber Knight, with Mario taking the place of a superhero in a very Gotham-like universe.
Okay, so this looks good, and I'm pretty sure it sounds good, so...
Talk, Chris? I see boom in the
sorry.
shot.
Oh. Are we out?
There we go.
Ah, sweet. If you look back at Stupid Mario Brothers, the series progressively got a little bit more serious as the show went on. We're at a point now where our production quality is finally good enough to where we could take something more dramatic and it won't be super cheese.
Really, you gotta really emphasize that whole thing. It's just, you know, it's like, Mario's no good. He's bad for the city, he stinks, and I don't like
my
him.
Fingers,
The
like,
whole thing is all
Yeah.
caps.
Yeah.
it's all
That's a
cappy.
fantastic way. I couldn't have said it any better.
I like how you said that.
With Plumber Knight, it allows us to do, even if it's not sort of my style, it's more of like what I'm trying to do, which is like action, adventure, superhero, kind of dark and mysterious type stuff. It's not using the title Stupid Mario Brothers, now it's The Plumber Knight Returns. It allows itself to be taken a little bit more seriously and allows itself to evolve into something more like what I wanted the show to be before.
Producers are totally paying attention. How'd you like that last line, Chris?
Don't use your hands at all. Just kind of lean back naturally. And obviously, the Plumber Knight title is a tribute to The Dark Knight Returns, and I know that some people automatically think like, oh, it must be a parody, but it was just so that it would immediately get into the fan psyche that this is a very much Frank Miller inspired series, but it's not a parody. It's very much that style and that tone with just Mario on top. So it's like a Batman-esque universe with Mario. I watched this interesting documentary one time about Lost where they were talking about how in the 4th season they cut it down from like, I think it was 22, 23 episodes a season to like 14, 15 episodes a season, and they were talking about how when you have a shorter season, people get disappointed that there's less episodes, but then they said that the episodes are tighter and they feel like they're not stretching it out too much. There's no filler, and they feel like they can, the character development seems more focused, and they're able to tell a more cohesive story. In the same way, I always felt during Stupid Mario Brothers that 15 episodes was a little bit of a stretch for what we were doing, especially in the 4th and 5th seasons when people were like, ah, come on, Richie. Like there were several scenes, there were several scenes where it was just like Zubashi like talking about nonsense. People were like, well, we could have skipped that scene. And honestly, I could probably do the entire 5th season again in just 10 episodes, and it would have been a much better season.
The 5th season edit, the Rich Alvarez director's cut.
Maybe I'll
Except it's shorter instead of longer.
But I figure rather than killing myself off the bat, I'm going to just make every season of Plumber Knight 10 episodes. That way we can have a focused season on just the essential good stuff.
So basically Game of Thrones, 10.
That's
Not
right.
House of Cards, that's 13. Not Community that jumps all over the place. Just 10.
Just 10.
Just 10.
I'm gonna kill him with my umbrella sword.
I played, Luigi in Stupid Mario Brothers, which is always tons and tons of fun. And then I played Nox Decius, so I've gone from the ridiculous, goofy side character to the super evil, obsessed, corrupt bad guy, And Gibbs, it's kind of cool because he's, you know, he's a good guy, but he's, you know, a normal guy.
Today we are filming shots of Mario with Lieutenant Gibbs, who is essentially this universe's Lieutenant Gordon. The police in Plumber Knight are they very much leave a lot to be desired. There are the ones that are just working directly with the Goombas, and the Goombas being the villains of the show. The Goombas are a street gang, very much akin to the mutants of Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns, or the Jokers of Batman Beyond. That's sort of, they're a unified street gang, and so everyone's afraid of them, and so the police have either decided to just stay out of their way or join them. Gibbs is really the only cop who's not afraid to work directly with Mario to get stuff done and to get the whole thing fixed. As you can see, hey Chris, why don't you get over here? Chris has his detective coat and his glasses, so this is essentially what Chris's character is going to look like. Say hello to the nice people, Chris.
Hello!
Yep.
They're best friends, just like me and Richie.
Today was the first day since the teaser trailer that I got into Old Man Mario I'm Not a Superhero Anymore costume, and this is kind of like my Clark Kent, if you will. You know, when he's not Mario, he is the old man with the glasses, though Mario does actually need glasses and a cane, but when he's kicking butt, he doesn't want people to know how weak he is, so he kind of toughens up, and when he's at home, he's like, oh, I'm so much in pain from fighting, and grabs his cane, and he's like, ah. And then, of course, Jackie here is playing a character that is very much Lois Lane, and that's funny because I'm using the names Clark Kent and Lois Lane, even though this is very much a Batman-inspired Mario show.
So basically, Richie could have called this the Plumber Knight Man of Steel Returns because it's Superman and Batman and Mario going...
How does it go, Chris? But her character is Denise Wright. She works for the Feral City Times, so it's like the New York Times, but of Feral City, obviously. And Feral City, of course, is the fictional city in Plumber Knight Returns. So, what do you have to say about that, Jackie?
It's good.
It's good. So Denise comes into Mario's life because she wants to figure out, well, first of all, she's been familiar with Mario since she was a little girl. He saved her life when she was a little girl, when he was much younger, and she wants to figure out who he really is, so she kind of comes over to Michael Camarelli's house to kind of figure out, like, is this Mario or not, because she kind of has a hunch that he's Mario.
So she writes for a newspaper, and her last name is Wright.
That's right.
I see what you did there, Richie.
Exactly. There are a lot of things in Plumber Knight that we haven't done before. One being that we spend a little bit more time on locations, and we hardly ever spend time on locations. Usually it's just like, oh, there's a fight scene. Chris's backyard. So, so there's a location called Nicholson's Cafe, and they were nice enough to let us use their place for a day so that we could film this very important scene that takes place at the beginning of episode 1. And this is a pivotal scene because it marks the return of Ness. Ness actually has a cameo in the show, played awesomely by Timothy Muller. And he's trying to get Mario out of retirement because at this point the Goombas have already taken over Feral City, and Mario is just grumpy and in retirement, and he's like, nah, that's not me anymore. And Ness is like, come on, Mario, we need you back, we need Mario back. And so,
I'm too old for this stuff.
I'm too old for this stuff.
There's the TLDR of that whole scene.
But
TLDW, too long didn't watch.
So basically, it's a classic scene of Mario just refusing to go back out into action. And at this point in episode 1, he has not decided to come back out of retirement yet. It's a very cool scene.
Yet.
Because
obviously he does, or else there wouldn't be a series.
Yeah. So we tried to make Timmy look as old as possible without putting gray or anything, because he wouldn't have gray at 33, but he would look older. So we fixed his hair and put a nice jacket, but because he's still in his early 30s, he has the open neck without a tie. So what do you think, Tim?
I think it looks cool. Yeah.
You sure that's not Chris over there?
Oh,
Sure you're not
I
standing
know,
next
Chris,
to
why don't you get over here? Yeah, this is not Chris Muller. This is Timmy Muller. He's starting to look a lot more like Chris, but he'll never be as tall as his brother. We once again had Andrew Irish, who helped us film the teaser trailer, and it was awesome. We had tracks, and I think we had a jib for some of it too.
It looked great.
Chris Lowen from Mercedes Avenue was able to stop by and do some stuff, and that was a lot of fun.
All right, one more time, and action.
Mario is no good. He stinks. He's bad for the city.
How was your day with filming with Richie?
I don't like him. I don't like his beard.
He stinks, and I don't like him.
He stinks, and I don't like him.
Chris was a great sport, and I think we had a lot of fun that day, and so we're hoping to get more of our friends to do those sorts of things as well.
The most viewed video on our channel, Nintendo style, this guy's in it, but you don't know it's him because he's in a Donkey Kong costume.
No, secretly, this is actually me. I just shaved. I just shaved it today. That's what happened.
Whoa.
The hair was his real hair.
Yeah.
So Joel, why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Sure. So, I'm Joel. I'm the executive producer.
Joel was an executive producer on Stupid Mario Brothers, and he continues to be an executive producer on Plumber Knight. And it was great because this time he actually came up for a weekend and actually helped us with a lot of the things that we needed.
I feel like you're kind of straddling a line here where you want to have enough callbacks to what people find familiar. And they're thinking about, oh yeah, I remember that, and oh, Ness is so old now, or whatever. How do you keep those people, but still get people like, oh, well, I like this more serious, darker stuff. This really fits in with my newfound depressed mood, or whatever, something that might be a little darker. So attracting new fans while still maintaining some semblance with staying loyal and keeping your old fans in mind. Just trying to keep everyone happy, but creating something that's engaging, that everybody is going to be interested in watching.
Joel was awesome. He was a lot of fun. He has a cameo in the show.
Yes, we put him in.
He's one of the random people in one of those random people montages, but he was a great sport.
It's been a lot of fun. I have to say that maybe because there's not the influence of money like there is in Hollywood. People are nice because that's the way that they are. I've had a blast hanging out with everyone, and I have to say that nothing really surprised me or anything like that.
Thank you for watching Production Diary number 2.
We'll see you in number 3.
Good morning, all. Welcome to the first day of filming for Plumber Knight here on the Rich Alvarez set in California.
Getting ready to film the new scenes in Plumber Knight Returns, the new show from the Rich Alvarez channel. As you can see, we have our camera set up here.